What is up, guys? Hope you are all good. Welcome to another episode of the Beyond the Boardshorts podcast. How you doing, James?
Yo, yo, all good, my man.
How's
How you
prep
doing?
treating you?
Prep's good. We are no, I call it a diet now. I
Oh
call it a
yeah,
diet. Low.
getting
What are
started,
we?
aren't you?
That's it. Mini cut.
Mini cut. I guess when you look at it that way, it helps you not to. Yeah, I guess it helps you just to be like a little bit of a not so serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
people don't show some will because obviously they know what I'm doing, but most
yeah.
won't ask what show that when. But we are out the blocks fast. Almost 4 kilos off in 10, 11 days.
Solid.
But that's the
Solid.
plan. Get it off early.
Mm-hmm.
But excuse me, I dropped weight at
Quick.
the start. I dropped weight, and then when you get to a point, you can be topless
Yeah,
comfortably,
yeah.
quick. But
Quick.
to get from there
Then it's a
to the
slog.
rest, oh mate, Hilly
Yeah.
was like, "Maybe this time." I was like, "It probably won't." He's like, "Yeah, we probably just we're not afraid of the work. Like I said, we've done 2 hours cardio on the stairs,
Yeah.
easily in the past on zero carbs,
Mm.
so can't get much worse than that."
Well, you say that,
Touch wood.
touch wood, bro. Let me say like so
Touch
early.
wood.
No, that's cool, bro. That's cool. So, what was I gonna say? So, you've lost 10. How long? Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. How long is your prep? How long?
Diet.
Or the diet?
Uh, I think it's 15 to 17 weeks or so till the first potential show.
Okay, cool.
But like I've said before, like if
Yeah,
I haven't
people are
booked
ready.
anything, I'm gonna book things slowly.
Yeah,
I was looking at B&Bs in the country, because it's abroad, so that's not really a secret.
yeah.
But I'm looking at ones that are refundables, just so I've got it there.
Mm,
But if I'm not ready, I'm not doing it. I'm not committing to anything. I'm not signing a contract.
hmm.
I'm just playing my game, my pace. Is my time.
Yeah,
Because it's gonna be
bookings.com are good like that. So if you look up bookings.com, they usually have a policy where like if you can refund unless it's like 24 hours before the time.
Yeah, well, we'd know a week before because if the contract's not signed, you
Exactly,
can't
then you
go.
can't compete.
That's good. I normally look on Airbnb,
Yeah. Have a look at
but
bookings.
they got kitchens and everything, don't they, as well?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Bookings.com has like has apartments as well. But it's like Airbnb, but it has apartments and hotel on it.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
But guys, I don't get a hotel. I never get a hotel. It's
yeah, don't
just
get
it's just head.
hotel. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hotel is a big
But what's
mistake.
what's happening with you?
Oh man, just bro, like I mean, I've just been doing the same, just kind of getting back into it off the back of coming back from holiday, get my feet back into training. I do start prep, I reckon next week or potentially the week after. But we're gonna be doing a 20-week prep. So we're gonna be prepping for quite a while. Yeah, so but it's gonna be slow. So our initial goal is obviously I came off all antibiotics for like 6, 7 weeks, came off everything. And the whole goal about that is let the receptors have a bit of a break. I know I wouldn't advise people doing that, to be honest. Like, you have to be in tune with your body to do that. And yeah, it was a bit of a slug. The seventh week, I was feeding it, boy. I was not feeling
Um,
good. But yeah, so back on TRT now, and we're going to run that up until we start prep and then start introducing more compounds in. But the goal is obviously to grow into prep and grow as prep starts. And I know my body and we do that a lot. So it's just being smart about how we go about it. But 20 weeks, looking forward to it, man. Yeah, let's fucking go, bro. I'm ready. It's free smoke.
also, but in an ideal world, I keep looking at the calendar. I'm looking, oh, where can I go? And ideally, I'd have done 3 shows at least before your first, and I want to be at that one as well.
Yeah, come through,
Um,
bro. That'll be fun.
we get a beyond board shorts flat and just turn it up, just like
Yeah,
Prague,
man.
but
Run
better.
it up. It'll be good. We're gonna do some good shit. But
But
saying that, we do have a
we,
guest today. Was that? Go
hang on,
for it.
but we need to find food just as good as Prague.
Oh yeah, yeah. Leave that
I
with
forgot
me, man. I'm good with them things, bro. Leave that with me, guys. If you, all the guys know, Emil, Yemi, all those guys know. If you're ever going to a competition with me, leave the food to me, man, because I'm good with them things, bro. I know where to
My
go,
man
where
was
to
on
look,
TikTok. Like, he's on TikTok sorting out, and then but he found
TikTok, all
somewhere.
kinds of shit.
You
Yeah,
can't eat. You can find good food, so it's all
yeah.
good.
I'll find good food, man. I'm a foodie, bro. I'm not gonna lie. If I wasn't in fitness, I'll probably do something with food, man. I ain't gonna lie. But saying that,
Yeah.
we do have a guest on. And this guy is someone that we've been trying to get on for quite a while now. So well, I'm happy that we can get him on because I think his story is going to be really inspiring to a lot of people. And we're going to get him to talk about like how we got into fitness and so on and so forth. So his name is Alex Freshwater. All right. And
hang on. You need to do this hype when he's here.
yeah,
He
I need
needs
to
to
get
hear,
used to this,
he to
man.
hear
We
the
need
hype.
to,
He needs to feel it.
yeah, it needs to feel it. All right, let's just get him in and then we can have a chat. All right. Boom, let's go. All right, let's go. Where is he? There he is.
Yeah, yeah.
Boom, man like Alex.
Freshwater.
Man
good?
like Freshwater. How you doing, G?
Yeah, not bad. How are you guys?
Sick, man. Really good, man. Good to have you on.
I'm glad to be here, you know.
That's it. So, guys, we have man like Freshwater in the house, and as I was saying just before he came on, if you know Freshwater, then you know about his story. But we want to get him to come on here. We're gonna have a little bit of a chin wag, just a bit of a catch up, but also he can speak about his journey and how he got into fitness and just his life in general. That's what we do here, bro. So we just kind of just tell people to talk about their life behind the Boardshorts, right? Beyond Boardshorts. That's the vibe.
How did it all begin?
How did it all begin? How you doing though, man?
That's the
How's
thing,
week
man.
been?
Like, I've always been into like fitness, rugby, all sorts of stuff. But it was never really bodybuilding
Yeah.
before that. So back in the day when I was a kid, like I used to play rugby competitively, always used to go to the gym,
Oh,
smash
nice.
gym. Like I was relatively big back then.
Mm.
And then went to university and kind of things as uni is. Discovered partying,
Yeah.
doing bits on the
I remember this
side.
time.
Yeah.
Life got in the way, it's one of them. And then I moved to London and kind of went in the wrong crowd, if that makes sense, and ultimately landed doing what Class A drugs a
Yeah.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no gym. There was absolutely no gym whatsoever during that period. And like that lasted for the best part of like 10 years.
Ah.
My addiction kind of ramped up.
Wait, hang on, sorry.
Yeah, we got to
How
go
old
all
are
the
you?
way back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how old are you?
I'm 35.
You're
Okay,
35.
Yeah.
Why did
yeah,
I think
I
you
didn't
were
realize
way
you know. When
younger?
you said
I'm masters, boys.
yeah,
I thought you were way younger.
oh,
I'm not gonna
shit.
lie, bro. I thought you were about
No,
like.
man,
That's what
I show it in the face, but
Wait, let's take it back. Let's take it back. So you obviously when you were growing up, you said you were playing competitive rugby, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So how long were you playing that for? How long did that last for?
So like I started when I was probably like 10 or 11.
Okay.
I was a winger, man. Like I was quick. I like being fast.
Nice.
I was the one. I didn't want to be touched. I didn't want to be catched.
Yeah.
So I was quick. I played for Stoke back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
what level is that?
Huh?
I'm a football man, so what kind of level is that?
So like that's like amateurs.
Okay.
Ain't anything serious. Like, and then I managed to get up to county, which is there above that. Then there would be like regionals, so it'd be like Midlands, etc. And then from there it would be like nationals, so UK, Britain, England, that kind of thing. So I never really went too much further with it. I was always injured, like my shoulders and everything. I was always injured.
Mm.
So I kind of just knocked that on the head and ended up just smashing gym, which was the best thing I could do at the time.
Yeah, yeah. So from the gym, like, go for it.
What was the like plan in the gym? Was it just to sort of fill the void of not playing rugby or get
So
girls?
I was
Or-
right. So as a kid, like I probably wasn't like the best kid. When I was like 11, I got hit by a car when I was
Damn.
45 miles an hour. So I put my head through the windscreen
What?
and I ended up like 45 miles an hour
So
outside.
casually said.
Once I put my head through the windscreen.
Yeah, just go push. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
so when I was 11, like I had a lot of time out of school, so ended up kind of like not really having like a group of boys that I was with, if that makes sense. And I was jumping around school, etc., trying to catch up in like learning. And I basically got to the point where I was like, I'm sick of learning. So I was like, I used to skip school and go to the gym. I used to literally just do everything over and above than trying to do what I was meant to be doing.
Yeah.
which probably wasn't the best thing in hindsight, but I still managed to go to university. Like I did law at uni somehow, no idea how. Got my degree and then kind of did nothing with it.
Hey man, we are the same, bro. Everyone's pretty much like that nowadays.
exactly.
Yeah. Man, so obviously you got into uni and you reckon that's when obviously you got exposed to, as you said, the partying and then the drugs and all kinds of stuff that happens from there. Or was it just the crowd that you
So
were
for
mixing
me,
with?
like as I say, like I struggled a lot with like focusing. Like I never really had a goal. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like I never had something that I really wanted to do. And I think this is one of the things that I was talking to Jen, my partner, about this the other night. It's like when you're at school, like you don't know what you want to do. Like you get forced to go and make a decision and like take a path down life, you know? And it's one of them things whereby for me, like I didn't have a clue what I was wanting to do. So when I was given the opportunity to kind of do something studying law, like I didn't really do a huge amount of partying, but I took you remember ECAs?
Oof.
Ephedrine,
No,
caffeine, aspirin?
I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
about that.
I've
The
used it
old
in
school
prep before.
fat
I'm not gonna lie.
burners.
Yeah, I've used it in prep. You gotta do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I used to take ECA to study.
Damn.
So I'd just sit there wired off my tits, just reading books. And that's like the old school of like what I did. And that kind of like led me down this avenue of like needing and using something in order to like exist, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Because as I say, like I was very lost, didn't know who I was, what I was doing, why I was doing it. I was just pushed down this avenue of like self-discovery and self-exploration that I didn't really know why I was doing what I was doing. I was just doing stuff.
It's interesting, man. I
Which
mean, like,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, because obviously we know where you are right now in your life. It's kind of interesting to hear that, like, obviously how you were before. And I think a lot of people wouldn't have guessed it, you know, wouldn't even know about it unless you
no.
speak about it, you know. So obviously
Yeah.
you had the uni and you know you graduated from uni. Did you do anything in law after uni, or where did you end up
No,
after uni?
I didn't. I tried, honestly, I did try. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I basically was in the point whereby I was so locked in to just getting my degree.
yeah,
I finished that and then I went to go and qualify to be a solicitor.
yeah.
But in the meantime, all these people were like proper book smart. Like I was just this head like guy who was just like I'd been partying. I used to work in clubs, like painting girls in UV paint. Like that was me. Like I wasn't a serious lawyer. Like I wasn't.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, yeah, I want to be a lawyer. And everyone was like, I want to be a barrister. And I was like, yeah, I want to be a barista. And they were like, but that's
Barista.
copy. And I'm like, no one got the joke. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I was a
well,
bit
that's
of a
a
joker.
top-notch joke, man.
That's good pants in my opinion, you know.
Mhm.
So it's like I was like always a bit of a joker at law school, and then I was doing my LPC to qualify to be a solicitor, and I finished that, and I just realized I fucking hate law. I was
Yeah,
like, I don't want to do this anymore. So that's when I moved to London and started working in property,
yeah, yeah,
which
crazy.
is
How was that?
yeah,
How was that transition? So where were you living before, actually? Where were you based?
Leeds. I was in Leeds.
Oh, okay, so that's pretty much a big move for you then, from Leeds to London.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
massive move.
I'm a move to London. So it's like that's basically what I did. So I
What
moved to
was your train
London,
of
and I was
thought when you
sick, like,
moved?
huh?
What was your train of thought when you moved? Like, what were you thinking? Like, oh, I just want like I want to leave my environment. I want to like start something new, or what were you thinking?
I was fed up of being skint, mate. Like if I'm completely honest with you, like I wanted to chase the money, like I wanted to build that career. As I say, like a whole lot of my life was like not knowing what I wanted to do. And it felt like for the first time, it was like I don't want to do law anymore. And I was able to make a big boy decision for myself to
Mm,
be like, right, I'm gonna go and do this and pursue what I want to do.
yeah,
So I ended up landing on my feet with a job in Knightsbridge in Chelsea,
nice, nice.
which was wild. Don't know
Yeah,
how I managed that. Um, and
that's
then
like,
that's like yeah, that's where it kind of like snowballed from there, if that makes sense. Because I was 20 something years old,
mm,
earning silly money,
mm.
and I didn't know what to do with it. Like no one had ever given me money before. And I was like, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I mean, it's obviously from how you started off, and then as you said, just you ended up having money. What do you even do? No one teaches you how to use money. If you haven't been growing up with money your whole life, or if you haven't had a lot of it, like no one teaches you how to save, how to spend. And you kind of have to figure it out yourself, especially when you're young, man. Because I
Yeah.
was like that as well, just bonking money, bro. But Yeah, man, that's interesting. So tell us a bit like how did the addiction essentially started?
So as I say, like I didn't know what to do with myself, didn't know what to spend money on, and like I was just like out. And that's when like the partying started, and then
Yeah.
it started off like as a weekend thing, just using class A, so like cocaine
Mm,
as a weekend, and then that rolled into like the weeks. And then
mm,
so that started midweek on a Wednesday. And I remember this one conversation one of my mates had with me at the time. It was like, you can't do drugs during the week because you don't know when it's going to stop.
mm.
And I was like, no, I'll be fine. I got it under control. And I didn't. And it just went from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I was so fucked from the weekend. It was Monday, Tuesday, and it carried on all the way through the week. And it kind of just snowballed and capitalized and become worse where I was so locked in needing it
Mm.
that it took over my life, like genuinely. So I ended up like losing my jobs in London because of it.
That was my next question. Like, how did you manage work and the nightlife and everything else like together? Like,
What's up, guys? Hope you're enjoying this episode so far. Make sure you subscribe.
and while you're here, if you're interested in online coaching, whether you want to compete or simply get in the best shape of your life, hit us up on Instagram.
And if you want posing sessions or anything to do with your presentation, drop us a message on Motion Performance and we get back to you. Boom!
But you wouldn't have known unless like you knew me, if that makes sense. So like I was I was like a chameleon. So I was really good at hiding myself and what I was up to that you wouldn't have known, but I was using it like all day, like if that makes sense.
At work as well.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah, at the time.
That's
It's, I mean, it's not something I'm proud of.
Hey
Trust
man,
me.
we all have a past, bro. We all have a
Yeah.
past. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you who you are. Like, you know, different experiences. You know, you learn from it and you move on. But you know, it is quite interesting to hear. But when you were in that phase of your life, you know, what was people around you saying? Were people kind of trying to tell you to stop, or like, were you in an environment where it was kind of promoted, or what was that?
So like I don't know if you know anything about central London and like
Yeah.
just people, right? So where I was, like central London, I was living in Fulham at the time.
Mhm.
It was just expected. It
Okay.
was just part of life. So
Mm.
there wasn't really like anyone that said don't do that. It was more like, okay, well that's what you're doing, crack on and do it, if that makes sense. So it wasn't until I physically couldn't manage myself or get enough money to pay for what I needed in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I started crumbling because it started affecting my mental health.
Mm.
It started affecting me really, really badly. Like I was feeling suicidal. I didn't feel worthy enough, good enough, or whatever it is.
I'm sorry to hear that,
And so
bro.
then yeah, and then I ended up leaving London and moving back to my mum and dad's house,
Yeah.
and kind of like trying to get a stable base again before, yet again, moving to another city. I moved to Norwich,
Norwich.
and I
I
tried
know
to,
Norwich.
yeah. So like I moved to
Yeah.
Norwich and did the same job over there, thinking
Yeah.
that I've left London, I've left my issues behind me. I'll move to a different city and I won't be a problem. Yeah. What I didn't realize at the time was I'm an addict, and it wasn't the location of where I was, it was me. Like
Mm.
I was taking myself, and it didn't matter where I went, I would just fuck it up, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So even in Norwich, again, I was fine for a couple of months and then snowball, until it literally got to the point whereby I was having psychosis.
Ooh.
I was in so much debt. I was in about 40 grand's worth of debt.
Oh.
I couldn't, I literally was listening to the walls because my mind and everything was completely broken. Like
Yeah.
there's no way of explaining like what I was putting myself through, but that wasn't enough to stop me.
Mm.
Because I was literally addicted and I didn't know that still.
Yeah.
What were
So
your parents like when you obviously moved home? Did you tell them, look, this is what's happening. I need to move home. I need to start again.
No,
they didn't know.
no. So like my mum and dad knew that I would drink, and I drink heavily. Like I drink them out of house and home. Like
Wow.
I drink. I don't know if your parents had like a drinks cabinet or whatever in the house or like bottles around, but like I drink everything. So there wouldn't be a single thing left in the house for them. So I drink like a bottle of whiskey a night. as well as like in my peak addiction, I was on like 3.5 grams a day to
Aye,
4 grams.
aye. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's intense, bro. But so what was the tipping point for you? Where you were like what was it that made you be like, yo, man, I can't carry on doing this?
So it all went tits up in Norwich. Ended up moving back to my mum and dad's house, obviously. And my mum and dad were like, right, okay, you need to get a hold of this. I still didn't know I was an addict at this point.
So how long
Like
was
this
this
is
like, sorry, how long was this like last, how can I say? How long
timeline.
did it start on like you went back to your mom's house? Was it like a few years or from the start
No,
of
I
it
only stayed there for a
where you
couple of
were?
months.
Okay.
So like this is back in like 2015, 2016.
Okay.
So I moved back to my mum and dad's house again.
Mhm.
All went tits up. And then it basically got to the point whereby I was like, right, I'm going to start again, move to Manchester.
Yeah, let's go.
So still, as I say, didn't know I was an addict. Got another
Okay.
job and relapsed like really, really hard. And my mum basically said to me, she said, I've looked at rehabs and I think it's one of those things that you should go to. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what a rehab was. I didn't think I had an issue. I just thought I was a guy who liked doing drugs.
Mm.
Right. So I said, okay, I'll go. Ended up going to this rehab in Portsmouth for a month.
Portsmouth, literally the other
And
side of the country. Jeez.
yeah, my man's traveled. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Jeez, bro.
Is that like you go stay there and live there and everything there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's basically
Wow.
like a private facility, but I mean they're all like locked down, like
Yeah.
you can't go anywhere.
Mm.
But this one was like a little bit more flexible, whereby they were trying to integrate you back into normality of life and
Mhm.
having self-worth. So it was probably the best thing I ever did. But still, even there, I didn't think that I was I didn't think I was an addict at all. Like, I thought I was just a normal guy
Mm.
who liked using drugs. So I got a month clean, then went back to my mum and dad's house, moved back. Oh, no, sorry, went back to Manchester, and I lasted 3 months, and then I basically got the worst I've ever been. Like I went and hit it hard, to the point where I was having seizures and I was collapsing and literally convulsing on the floor.
Right.
And I honestly, I've never been so scared in my life because I actually had no control over myself. Like my mental health was in the bin. I was fucking suicidal.
Mm.
I was an absolute nutcase. And so then I basically just called my mum and dad up one day. I was like, I need help. Like
Yeah.
that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
And like my mum literally was just like, thank God. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
put my mum and dad through absolute fucking hell
Mhm.
to get to that point. And
Yeah.
ultimately, like the more I've found out about addiction and recovery is
Mm.
until you get to that point of being so helpless,
Mhm.
of not knowing what to do and actually asking for the help, no one
Mhm.
can help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Like even
Yeah.
if somebody said you've got to go to rehab, if you don't want to go,
Mm.
ain't nobody stopping you or helping you do that.
Yeah, ultimately you have to make the decision for yourself because when you're in it like the way you were in it, like if you haven't realized that, as you said, for a large part of it, you didn't realize you're an addict. So well, I guess when you
Yeah.
came to that realization, you're like, oh shit, man, like, yeah, I need to stop doing this, or I need to actually like get some help. Then I guess it's like a part of your brain opens up, and then you like you want to take more action to it. But it makes complete
Yeah.
sense, man. It makes complete sense. So you
I
did you
think
go
that's
back to
the
rehab or
yeah, so I went back to rehab for like another 2 months.
okay?
I didn't want to leave. Like if I'm completely honest with you, I was like I felt safe there. Like
Yeah.
I was very nervous and anxious about moving on with my life.
Mhm.
But I learned so much just about mindset and like the way we live and the way
Mhm.
you do things and like wanting something more for yourself. And that's probably one of the reasons why I'm the way I am today and the way I talk in like such a definitive nature.
Mhm.
Probably makes me sound quite like bolshy and aggressive, if that makes sense, because I'm like such a strong-minded person. But it's you've got to be strong-minded to know what it is that you want. And I think a lot of it's like to do with being clear and definitive in terms of if you're going to take action, do the action. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? Like pull through with what it is you said you're going to do.
100%.
So when I got clean and I came back to Manchester, my whole first, like, this is back in 2018, and I was clean. My first 2 years, basically, I didn't really do anything. I was just trying to, well, I mean, I was working at a Pure Gym at the time because I'd done my PT qualification whilst in rehab,
Oh,
basically.
good. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. They were like, you need to find a job that's not working for someone else that gives you motivation and passion for helping other people, not just for lining your pocket. And that's how I ultimately got into fitness, because I was like, well, I used to like fitness. I used to like rugby. I used to like that side of things. I was like, well, if I can do that as a job, that will give me like purpose and gratification and a reason to live, because I'm helping other people overcome similar things that I've been through.
Yeah.
And I found a lot of love for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. No, it makes
Definitely.
sense. Yeah.
And then I'm guessing that just sort of similar to me, that just spirals into bodybuilding and like, like when you're passionate about something, so like even rugby, and a lot of people we have on the podcast come from another sport, you kind of need to push that passion somewhere else. So it just, I guess bodybuilding just made sense.
It's exactly that. It's like that constant need for doing something bigger and better than what I'm currently doing. Like the need for becoming more is the way that I usually say it. It's like, and I've done this, I've achieved it, I've done it like to the best of my ability. Now I need to become something else. It's like that constant evolution of who I am.
Yeah.
Very much as yourself. It's like the job's never just done. Like you're never just like, okay, cool, I'm done with life now. It's like, nah, what's next? You know? So when I got like the first couple of years under my belt, and then we went into lockdown, that was fucking savage for me, because I was like just a early in days of recovery, sat in my house like, what do I do? So I ended up buying some weights, and I bought like 37.5 kilo dumbbells. I couldn't even pick it up off the floor. I was that little, man. I was like, by the end of lockdown, I was like, right, my goal is to be able to press these off the floor. That was basically my goal. And as soon as I started like trying to lift it and training with it, it's like at the end of it, I was lifting them for days, and I was like wicked. And that like really started driving the bug. And then October 2018, I started working with Callum, which was then Muscle Mentors.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I was like, I want to do a bodybuilding show. I didn't have a fucking clue.
Wait, so you were working with him before you wanted to bodybuild, so he was just like coaching you like lifestyle.
No, I told him I wanted to bodybuild. Like,
you went to him to do the bodybuilding coaching. Okay.
Yeah, from day one.
What was like the like
where was your head at? Like, what was your thought process? Like going straight from like obviously just training in your house with 37 kilo dumbbells to be like, I want to be a bodybuilder. Like, where did that come from?
I didn't give it much thought. Like genuinely, I just did it. Like I was just like, I'm gonna do this now. And I was like, I don't know where this is gonna go or how it's gonna look. Because one of the things that when I was in addiction, I always said to the dealers and stuff at the time, I was like, don't sell to me anymore, because I'm going to go and do a bodybuilding show.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah. This is one of the things I always tried to use as an excuse to stop using. And it never worked. So I always had this in the back of my mind, is like, now I have actually stopped using, I can go and do a bodybuilding show. And I didn't really know what it entailed. Like, but I just told Callum, I was like, I want to do a bodybuilding show. And he was like, okay, cool. So I ended up buying a cable stack for my flat at the time, and I was just training in my living room with a dual cable pulley, doing all sorts of random stuff. And then we obviously came out of lockdown, and then I jumped into, I think it was pretty much straight into a prep.
Mad.
So wait, your first show was in, I don't remember, when was lockdown?
July 21.
21.
That's mad. I always just thought you competed forever. Like,
nah,
yeah, you seem to have been around forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez. So first show
was it in lockdown? Was lockdown still around? Like when?
I think that would have been the ones with the.
That was the first one.
The one with the tents.
That was the first one back. So that was a PCA first timers.
Oh, PCA.
Yeah. So I jumped straight into that, and I won the overall.
Oh, sick.
And I was like, oh, maybe I could do this then. I was like, wicked, okay.
You know what? I remember now, because I remember you had long hair, like, you were posing with Emma Heidman as well, because she was doing a lot of promotion for you.
And what's his other name?
The
Saxon King.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I remember, and then you won the PC overall, and you were flipping peeled. He
Yeah.
was so peeled, and I was like, "Where the heck did this guy come out from?" And then that's when you coined the thing crispy, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where I coined that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's how that started. And then I moved to Two Bros. I didn't have a clue. If I'm being honest with you, at the time, I didn't know that there was like things as federations.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
didn't, I didn't even know like there was PCA, Two Bros, etc., etc. I didn't know
Yeah.
what all that meant. And Cal was like, "Right, we're gonna go do this," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 cool, 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 cool." I just went along with it. I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah." So ended up doing the two bros and kind of like was like, yeah, I like this. Like I got the bug big time, like
Mm.
big time. Um, and so then I kind of just pursued it from there, like with militant intent.
Do you reckon so bodybuilding,
I'm
do you think
seeing,
that was what was that, bro? Go
no,
for
no, I
it.
was just saying, I remember seeing him in the Two Bros with a long hair. I'm sure it was like bright pink shorts.
I
In
remember
one
what
of
shorts I had.
the early shows. I remember random things, but I remember I think when I just started coming back to competing, I think I went to a client show, and you know when you're like, oh, you have a break, but you get there, you're like, oh shit, I want to do it again, and then next minute I'm up there again. So
Doing the same thing.
Yeah. So like would you say fit like bodybuilding was probably something that I say really saved you in a sense, like in terms of gave you a different type of purpose? Because you said you kind of didn't really know what you wanted to do, but it seems like with bodybuilding you had some kind of goal and direction.
And yeah, without shadow, without like, throughout, as I say, like throughout my whole life, like that's what I was trying to get across from the beginning of my life. Like I've never really understood what I wanted to do or who I wanted to be or
Yeah.
what I wanted to achieve. It's kind of like, just as I say, forced down you to go and do something. Yeah. And then as I kind of like progressed and got clean,
Mm,
I was able to think about what can I actually do that's not going to help me, but also help other people.
mm,
And following the bodybuilding thing, like, it's such a clear, definitive like process, and I like that. Like I like the clear, definitive process of right, you look skinny, so now we're gonna build you up and put you into an off season. And then I followed that militantly from what Callum was saying. Everything he said, I did. Like
mm,
there was no two ways about it. I was militant with it.
mm.
And then going through that, and it's like, right, now we're going to prep. And I was like, okay. So it's like, what do you want me to do? How high do you want me to jump? And it's like, get it done. And that's why I was so goddamn peeled, because it's like, bosh, like I'll throw myself 100% at it, like without question.
Mm.
Um, and that's the process of like constantly developing yourself,
Yeah.
which is what I've said. But I love that clear, definitive structure within bodybuilding. It just doesn't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
I think where
Crazy,
you
man.
know when you eat more, you know, you lift heavier, you can see it happening,
Yeah.
know what's coming next, and now I eat less, I cardio more, and then especially when you're like rewarded for it with you know, you win the fucking first show you do, it's like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I can do this. Let's eat
Yeah,
even
that must
more,
have
and
been
let's if they lose more weight, then it's like
must have been a great
it just becomes
feeling. Kind of like
competitive.
a nice
Yeah.
validation of like your efforts as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was capable of doing something. And I think for me, like, especially being still like, I was 2 years-ish clean at the time.
Yeah.
And I think it was the first time I had like some element of validation of something that I've done positively for myself that I'm
Yeah.
actually fucking good at.
Yeah.
And I remember driving home from Birmingham with a sword in my back of my car, being like, I have no idea what's just happened. Like the same sword's still here, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know what had happened, why it had happened, but I was just like, you did that, well done. And I think that's the first time I ever like probably truly felt proud of what I'd done and accomplished.
Sick, man.
Um, which is a huge thing for me to say, because like my whole life I've just been so self-loathing and like self-hating and just
Mm.
destroying everything about myself
Yeah.
because I hated everything about me. And that's obviously why I was using drugs.
Yeah.
To then obviously come to bodybuilding and finding real true purpose and actually realizing I'm good at this.
Yeah.
Like it was wicked.
That's sick, man.
Not
That's
closing, because it sounds like I'm closing, but what advice would you give someone who's like has an addiction and for them to overcome it? Like what would you say for them to do, like based on everything you've gone through?
Just believe you can, like truly. Like I think that's one of the things that I I learned from the early parts of recovery was I never felt good enough. I never felt worthy. I didn't feel like my life was worth anything. And that's really hard for me to say even still,
Yeah.
because it's like, that's as sad as it sounds, like that's truly how I felt in those darkest times. Like I never felt worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's anyone that's kind of going through addiction, they'll understand that feeling of like,
Yeah.
I can't stop using a substance, be it alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, porn, fuck me. The amount of people that are addicted to things is wild, but there's usually a reason and a rationalization behind it, what's driving you.
Mm.
And if I can overcome it after 10 years of being stuck in that cycle, using so much drugs, being seriously in debt, like wanting to kill myself and being psychotic and all this other shit.
Yeah.
I was like, if I can overcome that and become a professional bodybuilder or a professional, whatever it is, what's stopping you doing anything? And I truly believe that. Like, if if Alex Freshwater can, you definitely can.
That is the opening reel right there.
That is the opening reel. No, that honestly, bro, is probably one of
I love that.
the greatest flipping stories I've heard. Well, man, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not just saying that because you're here. It's proper sick, man. Just to see what you've been through and how hard it was for you to then kind of put yourself out of that kind of dark hole and make something of yourself and accomplish something as big as becoming a pro. It's a great testament to your character and your willpower as well, man. So big respects, bro.
Appreciate it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people wouldn't. I know you talk about it, but you don't really go into it much on Instagram like that because it's obviously a different platform. So it's like short form. So people don't realize. I definitely didn't realize how fucking deep it was.
Yeah.
Oh mate,
It fucking come from to like, because all people can see, like all they see is the card in the back. Fucking he's jacked.
Mhm.
But they don't see everything that's fucking come before that to get you there.
Yeah.
I think the majority of us, like, we all have like 6 stories in the background, right? It's always
Yeah.
like there's always something that's driving you.
Mhm.
But it's like I'm very careful about what I put out in terms of like about me. It's like I don't want to overkill it. Like I don't want to overshare where people are just like, fuck it, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Like that isn't the case. Like with me, it's just like I'm 6 years clean now, right?
Yeah. Congrats, man. Sick.
That's like 6 years ago, Alex, like it's not like it's still a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
But it's got to the point whereby like now I'm in a position whereby I'm happy to talk about it. I'm happy to share about it because it's not something to easily like overcome. Like the majority of my clients, they are still going through bits of it, etc. And I'm very fortunate to be able to physically understand that, because I think especially when it comes to like the mental health side of it and the addiction side of it, it's just stop is the majority of people's responses, and it's like it ain't that simple. It really isn't.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, like one of your driving forces has been to help people, and I think you sharing, especially now, like everything will help more people. So
100%. Yeah.
man, obviously I can only imagine how hard it is to speak on things like that because it's so easy to, things we have in the past. It's so easy to just like pack them away because that's the past. But to be able to lean into it, express yourself, and help people while doing it is massive.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Proper sick, bro.
So
that's why I started this podcast, and I was a little bit like, I was like, what do you want to know?
I don't know if you watch many, but we're just super chill, man.
We're super chill. We're just like people
that
you let people talk, let people kind of like be themselves, because that's what it's about, man. And it's a lot natural when people kind of just talk, and tell people what they want to tell people too. But let's take it to like obviously
bodybuilding. Let's go.
Yeah, the good stuff.
I mean, like you started competing, you started winning, all that kind of stuff. Tell us about like how you felt whilst you were competing and traveling around competing, like, and also when was it your goal to become a pro?
So like I feel like that seed was planted when I realized like I won the sword in my first ever show. I didn't realize what it was going to be required of me to turn pro. Like I know it's one of those things that coaches always bat around, be like, yeah, you're going to turn pro, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. And I don't think people really truly respect what is required. It's like you have a little bit of good luck, you win a couple of shows, and it's like, yeah, man, I'm going to be a pro. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, here's another one, So I always had this like underlying like driver in me because it's such a difficult thing to do. And I knew it was really fucking hard. that because it was almost impossible, I wanted it. Does that make sense? So I was like, I'm going to do the impossible coming from where I've come from to where I want to be. It's just like, and I'm going to do that in the quickest time I possibly can, which was like 2 years from my first ever show to turning pro in 2023.
Yes.
Yeah, you turned pro just before me, I think. Was it
Before you, yeah.
yeah, like April, May. Fuck off.
Yeah. 2 years from
Sorry,
starting
man.
as a complete amateur, like,
That's fucking
and then
crazy.
becoming a pro, it's pretty
How many
sick.
shows was when you turned pro, like what show was that in terms of numbers?
Numbers. So that was the Gasp Classic in Sweden.
But like, how many shows had you done before
Oh,
that?
it's before that.
Remember.
6 or 7, something like that.
Oh, shit, it's
That's
not even
crazy.
that
I do
many
like
shows, to be
7 a
honest.
year.
Hey, what?
He said he does 6 to 7 a year.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that, bro. I'm
I
one
used
or
to do
two
that.
and I'm done.
I used to do that back in the days, man. Like back in like when we started competing. James and I started competing in 2016, 2016, 2017, yeah, 2016. We were just popping shows left, right, center because it was like one of them ones where they were only given that one pro card per year, and sometimes they wouldn't even give it out. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like one of them ones where you just competed because it was just fun. It was just like you compete just for the laugh. Do you know what I'm saying? So I used to do loads of comps, and James was the same, right?
I wasn't even chasing a card. It was
Just
more
nothing.
I was chasing like exposure and marketing and like
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to boost the brand or boost PT, and it just gave me a purpose, quite simply.
Yeah.
So-
I relate to that because when I moved from Ireland to the UK, I had no friends. I kid you not. I didn't know anyone. So competing was kind of like a way of me meeting friends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was a way of me kind of having a community that like, oh, I can relate to people that I feel like were on the same kind of like path as I was, and it was really nice, man. It was definitely something that I needed at that time in my life, you know. And I think probably similar to you, you kind of opened your doors to a different type of people that now you can socialize with from when you started off before to where you are right now. Like obviously you have a different pool of people now, I can imagine.
Mate, that's exactly it. Is the relatability.
Yeah.
Is like we're all like working towards a goal.
Yeah.
So it's like everyone that I know pretty much from like way back when, like 4 years ago, that was around that was chasing something is now pretty much got it.
Mhm.
You know, within reason, just a couple of other people that are still hanging in there, like, which it'll come like 100%, like I believe it will do. But it's that relatability of when you're all going through that process. It's like a little like a respect of like a brotherhood. Is like,
100%.
yeah, we're rivals at the end of the day. Like, you know, I want to beat you, you want to beat me, you want the pro card before me, etc., etc. But I think there's still that respect element of knowing exactly what you're going through, especially when it comes to like prep and that respect.
Yeah.
Because you all have to go through it. Like,
I think it's that level of like understanding, like
yeah.
So like obviously we spoke in preps and stuff before, and it's like, how do I put it? It's the respect of knowing what the fuck you're going through,
Yeah.
knowing that I've done it and we've done it, we do it together. I know sometimes you need that a little boost from someone who just gets it, rather than the outside noise. Yeah, you're gonna win. You know, and that's
literally all the Instagram comments.
Yeah, you're gonna be Mr. Olympia,
that's just
bro.
like, yeah, exactly.
But that's Instagram for you, man. And I think that's why when I said is that when you asked me when did I know I wanted to be pro, and it's like everyone always wants to be pro from day one of doing their first ever show. That stuff seems to be the first thing that comes in their mind. And the reality is, it's like, as I say, it's such a difficult thing to do because Instagram will tell you you're amazing. Yeah, it's like that false sense of understanding or false sense of self-belief. I mean, like always believe in yourself, but also be understanding of what the actual goal is and what you need to do to accomplish.
The amount of people, I don't know,
Always that.
Hold on. You cut out for me, I don't know.
Yeah, you cut out for a second.
Sorry, mate.
Oh, where were you? What did you say?
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, you're good.
I said it isn't that simple as literally just going to a show because the boys that are turning up these days, they're
next level.
They're wild, man.
Yeah. The next pool of people coming up, man, is insane. Absolutely insane. So what was the feeling when you actually got the pro card? What was like rushing through your mind that day? Like when you heard your name being called out, like take us through that.
So that was in Sweden.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like I was relieved. I think that was the first thing I felt, was like ecstatically relieved that I'd done it. And like the goal was achieved.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how I was gonna be feeling at the time. Like, you know how it is when they call your name. It's just like, what,
Yeah.
what the fuck's just
Literally
happened in my
me.
life?
Have you made a mistake? Like,
Yeah,
me? Is
it's
that the
like,
right number? Are you
was
sure?
that actually the best? You know what I mean? Like, wow, that's a shock. But it's like, for me, it was I was just overwhelmed with like relief and happiness. That euphoria then just rolled on. And I don't even think it took me a couple of months to realize that I'd done it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. It does. It never like.
Mine didn't tick
Yeah.
in. Sorry.
It takes ages for it to sink in. I was exactly the same. I'm not gonna lie. Even me going in to do my pro card, I was pretty confident I was gonna get my pro card that day. I'm not even gonna cap. But even when I got that pro card,
Superstar.
when I got that pro card, I was still like, because it was still obviously, everyone, as you said earlier, everybody has something that's driving them, right? Everyone has something, right? For me, it was I had my mother was not doing well, So for me, like, she was going through a lot in terms of like, she was going through surgeries, and she always wanted me to get my pro card. She was always like, yeah, it's like, you can do it, you can do it. So then, like, when I actually achieved that, bro, like, even though I knew I was going to get it, I started crying on stage, bro. I don't even cry, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I just started crying on stage. Actually, no, backstage, I started crying. And I just didn't know how to stop it, bro. Like, it was uncontrollable. So it was just like crazy. Like, and then I just remembered it took me, like, as I said, and then also the next day, I had to step on the Arnold stage as a pro. So
I
for me, it
remember
was
that.
like there was a lot of things happening that weekend for me that I just could not, like, I couldn't process. And then there was a time that I was in, I think I went to do a show in France, right? I went to do a show in France, and not a pro show in France that same year. And I was like, after the show in France, like we went back to the apartment and I was smoking a spliff. And then I was there with my missus, and I was like, I just broke down again, started crying again. I was like, believe what just happened. It takes a while for you to sink in, but when it does sink in, you start to think about the things that you've gone through in order for you to get that accomplishment. So I totally relate to you in that side.
But that's it, man. It's like that overwhelm of emotion.
Yeah.
I remember literally walking out of the venue, and I did an Instagram story, which I've saved on my phone, and it was just like, I've done it. And I did it, and I didn't know how I've done it, and I was just crying. And
Yeah.
like, I don't really do crying either.
Yeah.
And I was just crying. And
Yeah.
I was just hit with this emotion of like, I have no idea like how I've done this or achieved it in the time frame that I had done, but it was done.
Yeah.
Because that for me was like the ultimate goal, is to turn pro. Like, if I'm completely honest with you, I never intended to do a pro show or anything. I was like, right, I'm done, wicked. That's why I was so relieved. I was like,
That's it.
Yeah, but you did do a pro show.
That's what I was gonna say. That fast forwards us to
Yeah,
was the first one the UK one, right?
Europa. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk us
Yeah,
through.
but that's exactly what I was saying at the beginning. It's like, it's never ending. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a constant carousel of that self-development and wanting to be more, be better. Like, who are you? Like, let's see how far you can go with this. And that's the beauty. That's what I'm saying, is that's the beauty of this sport. It's never ending. And it's like, if you have that self-belief that you can do it, like, go and explore that. And the worst case scenario is it turns out you're shit at it. Go back and do it again.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but it still gives you that purpose. I don't know. I feel like I felt happier and more focused at first until I got the pro card. Then it was like, oh shit, I've fucking done it. Like, what the fuck do I do now? Like, it was actually quite a. Once I got back. It was like quite a downer for me actually.
Yeah.
It wasn't what people expected to be. This
No.
like fucking buzzing and walking on cloud nine. It wasn't fucking that. It was like, oh shit, like what now? And then you have to let it sink in. And I don't actually think I felt like I even deserved it until I stepped on the first pro stage. I was like, oh shit, okay,
Really?
I actually can do this. I do belong.
Oh, I didn't
Especially
know
with
that.
that back, man.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
this
but
guy's
Lawrence
back.
is back.
I keep telling him, he's got one of the best back in the industry. No
It's
cap.
wild.
No cap.
No one, you don't know, you don't realize
No.
because until you're like, when we're at home, we take pictures and we're in the gym, we take pictures and we post things. And once I've done it for nearly 10 years, 9 years now. It's like everyone's talking shit. They're just nice. Like it doesn't mean anything. Until I see it with my own eyes, like next to
Another person.
real competitors I can see who are fucking dangerous. Until then, it's just fucking smoke and everything shit.
But
I
that's
guess for you,
being humble about it, though.
yeah.
But I spoke to you in Italy, like all the way through that. And I was just, and I know people like often talk shit, like I had no expectation, blah blah. But I feel like I didn't. I literally was just like, yeah, let's just go have some fun and see where we fall. And
Oh
then
yeah,
it was like
100%.
Europa. Yeah, but then the next show came, I was like, oh, I expect to do well now. And I was like, oh, no, get back in your place.
Yeah, that's the same as me in Italy, man. Like Europa, like I came 10th, having prepped myself. And then I went to Italy and I come last. I'll come last. And mate, you're still on that side of the stage. There's nothing more humbling than just being like, oh, that's still not been called.
Yeah.
Still not
And
been
you're like,
called.
and you see me, like I'm here, like you got
It's
to
like,
do that arm.
hello.
You got to do that arm, bring the arm back. Hello.
And then I start sweating and I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? Have they made a mistake? And I was like, nah, there's no mistake here, bro.
Bro, the exact same thing happened to me. I know it happened to you as well, Isaac.
True athlete.
I
Yeah.
was at the second show, and like all of a sudden, boom, sweat. I was like, what the fuck? And you can't stop.
No.
You could just feel it, and you just. But at Europa, there was no like ladies, tan ladies with a towel or anything. Whereas in Italy, like I wasn't even sweating because I had no expectations, but they were there, like with a tissue and stuff, just behind the they're like the board with the screen on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's one of the things I struggle with the most is like the sweating. Like I'm peeled. There's no reason why I'm sweating. Like there's nothing to come out of me, but it's like I just get so like anxious, nervous. And like the heat of the lamps, like you got all these extra things you don't think about. Like it's
Wait, hang
a
on.
lot of bodies.
Did you sweat as an amateur?
No.
Yeah, neither did I.
Neither did I.
Even if I had back to come on. Yeah, never sweat.
Wet. Soggy.
I lost about 4 kilos on stage.
Literally.
Hey, true athlete was, I just did not know what was going on, bro. I was sweating so much. And I was like, I kept looking at Rob. I was like, what the fuck? Like, bro, like, what happened?
I can see it. You're like this. You're like,
it was so cool.
it's like, yeah, I can see it. I couldn't work out what was going on.
I've never sweated like that, not even while I was training, mate. Like, it's like I'm sweating so
The
much.
Stairmaster drier than that.
Yeah, like I was like, when you go to the Stairmaster, you're so peeled and there's nothing else to come out of you. Like I'm not even sweating.
I'm the same as like when I go on a sunbed and I'm peeled, like, and I come off the sunbed and I put it as hot as I want, and I'll come off and it's dry. Like I know I'm peeled when it's dry.
Right. Yeah.
There's no reason.
Yeah. So that was
sweating on stage.
Yeah, man.
But so talk us through the first 2 shows. You kind of touched on it, but let's hear your.
So, Europa, man. So I prepped myself for that.
Why did
I do that? I wanted to know if I could. I think it's one of those things you get the privilege to experience if you do prep yourself, but it's a challenge. Like I've got no issue with getting peeled. Like I got no problem getting peeled. I think the hardest thing for me was going too hard and getting myself too peeled. Was basically where I ultimately ended up because we obviously got the weight cap with where we were at, and I started prep at like 107 kilos.
What's your cap?
I needed to get down to 91.6.
What's your cap?
Oh, but he's crazy lean in his off season. It's like like full on peak off season with
he's
full on
abs.
I don't know where the weight comes from or why. It just sits on me and it's like, right, okay, well, I've got basically the best part of 20 kilos to lose here. Nice one, sound. So I had to basically pull that off, which was fine. Eventually stepped on, but I was way under cap when I was weighing in. I think I was like,
what is your cap again, bro?
91.6.
Is that so? You must be the height just above me then, because I'm 88 kilo. on stage. That's what
Yeah.
I need to
That's what
be.
we spoke about the other day. Remember we said, is there one between?
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah,
there was
91.6.
Yeah, okay.
Because I should, like, I'm 0.3 centimeters off the cap, next cap.
Oh,
You need to stretch, mate. You can make that.
Bro, I was in the inversion table and everything trying to make height. It didn't make a fucking difference.
1.3.
Even did you like proper stretch on the thing? Because
Yeah,
people were like,
I've been hanging upside down for months. I was like, my missus would come in the morning and she'd be like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm trying to get taller, yeah. So I bought an inversion table to try and stretch. It didn't work. It didn't work for me. I'm just short. It's just my height. So anyway, so inversion table didn't work. So I was like, okay, cool. So now I'm 91.6. Wicked, nice one. So I ended up weighing in at like 86 kilos or something like that. Because I went way too hard. Yeah, I went way too hard, which is my own fault. You know, I'm coaching myself. I was trying to just get over the line, so I wasn't stressing.
Yeah.
it's also the first time experience. Even with a coach before, if you had a coach before and weighed in, you'd kind of get it a bit more.
Figure it out.
But even in Sweden, like they weighed us. This is back in 2023, before the show, the day before, and I was 91 kilos then. So I was like, right, I need to go harder because now I'm bigger. It didn't make any sense, but I was so fucking peeled for that Emporo show. Like, it was painful. I mean, the hardest thing for me on that was the peaking. Like, I didn't know how. Obviously I did know how, but I didn't know how to peak myself.
It's hard to see yourself objectively, and
100%.
especially the back end of prep when you're chasing like, the 1%, and it's like a toggle, isn't it? It's like, how much condition can I sacrifice for fullness? And when you're looking at yourself, it just doesn't sit right.
But
And I
also
think
you second guess
because
yourself a lot.
you want to lose it.
Yeah, like when you prep yourself, you're second guessing yourself a lot as well. Like, your decision you're making, like, oh, should I just do more cardio? Should I not do more cardio? Because I prepped myself for 2 comps actually back in the days. When I was an amateur, it was like UK BFF days. And I know how hard it is. I've never done, like, I still won the comps, lucky enough, but back then you didn't have to be that peeled anyways to win the comps. But right now I don't know whether I'll be able to do it right now. I may be able to, but I think
I'd love to try.
Well,
I've always wanted to try.
it's one of them ones that, like, sometimes I'm like, is it worth it? Obviously, I think right now, because we are more in tune with our bodies, I guess you may say that you just know.
But the goal is so much bigger now.
Yeah,
it's like,
and the bigger the goal gets, the less kind of risk you want, and you kind of like, to the coach, and if I don't look good, it's your fault. Kind of.
Unless you're Ryan Terry.
Yeah,
within reason.
Yeah. I don't know what what I mean.
Yeah.
You just get told eat. I remember I did a show in Spain a few years ago, and he was like, have a pizza and then a McDonald's, and then I had like 4 cookie dinners the night before the show. I'm like, are you sure? Like, there's no way anyone would really do that themselves.
No.
But it worked, and at that day, that was the best look ever. And I've done similar things since then, but it's just, I don't have to think about it. I did second guess him then. I never do, but it's like,
that's giving you 4 cookies.
Pizza. Oh mate, that was the best carb up I've ever had.
My man's sitting there with a pizza and everything in front of him, and I'm like, yeah, life's good.
Your letters.
Yeah, probably.
Nah, that's cool. So
we
go for it.
So we smashed off the Emporo. I came 10th, which is
the second call out.
Second call out, yeah, which wasn't too bad. I wasn't mad about it.
It's good, yeah.
And then I was like, all right, one more. So we ended up doing Italy, and I teamed up with Jamie DeRigo, because I think for me the hardest thing, as I say, was the peaking. And when I was backstage, I was like, I didn't know what I looked like, and I hated that. I was like, I didn't know how to pump up. I didn't know if I was pumped. I didn't know if I was full. You're full of that second guessing mindset, and especially when, exactly as you said, the game is a lot more. Like, it means a lot more. What we're doing here, it's not small peas. Like, you're in the pro leagues, bro. Like, you need to be acting and looking like a pro rather than an amateur. So all I wanted to know is that I belonged in that first call, in that first show, and obviously coming 10th, I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, it's middle ground. We got room to improve. We can also do
perspective.
You can also do worse. You know what I mean?
For everyone who's like listening in, like, there was about 23, 24 guys at that show.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
stacked.
So I'm sure you beat probably some Olympians in that as well.
Yeah, is it Faulkner? Faulkner? I can't remember.
Fuck no, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
you
was
beat him.
behind. He was next to me. I was on my left.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah. He's always
But,
places.
man, you know, it's one of those people you just look up to, and I was like, bro, why are you on my left? I was like, you should be in that first corner. You know what I'm saying? I was like, it was one of those surreal moments. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, that you know, that kind of like gave me that belief. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe I do belong in the pro leagues, and it's all good. So then obviously went to Italy, and I was teamed up with Jamie Dorigo. That was another experience. That was wicked. I come in a lot more full.
Put you out there, didn't I?
Again, it was a different judge. It was Maz. Maz doesn't like me.
Oh yeah.
Maz hates me.
We all have
I
them
can
judges,
literally
though.
hear him from the stage. He was like, "Oh, it's him from the UK." I was like, "No, I don't like him." I was like, "Bro, come on, man."
No
I can
way.
hear him. I can hear him.
Oh,
I can hear every single
God.
word he said, and I was like, "That is like it's heartbreaking." And I was like, "Wicked, I got to go back on that stage now." Nice one,
mate. I remember in the competition, I heard the judge point at me and said, "Fat." Or
Is that what
soft.
he
Was either
said?
fat or soft. It was one of those ones. It was like he pointed at me. It was like soft, and I was like, "That you can read his lips as well." And then I also when he's pointing at you, and I was like, "Ah, shit."
Like a dad.
Stand and smile, baby. It's all
Literally.
good.
I'm down, bro. So I hear you.
But yeah, for Italy it was good crack. Like I enjoyed like obviously the international experience, not being on home soil, trying to
Your
navigate the
first one?
prep on. Huh?
I know it's not. Sorry.
Second.
Never mind.
Second one, yeah.
Yeah.
Not obviously being at home. Like it's a new experience. But obviously coming last absolutely kicked me in the dig.
Yeah.
And I think for me it's like ultimately what's my physique lacking is just like time development. Like I'm dense because I'm old. But it's like for me, it's like I've only really realistically, if I break it all down, been bodybuilding for like 4 years, 4.5 years, 5 years.
What was your actual feedback from both shows? If you got it?
The first one was Tyler.
Hmm.
It was just more back density. That's all he said he really wanted. He was like, maybe don't be too sharp.
That'd be
Or be-
fuller.
Yeah, coming fuller. That's what I tried to then do in Italy. Weirdly, bearing in mind I get a lot of hate about my legs. And Tyler did not mention my legs, which is positive. So
There we
my
go.
legs are balanced for all those haters out there.
Haters looking up, haters.
Doesn't have fuel you, does it?
Yeah.
But then for the other one, because I knew it was Maz, I was just like, I'm not going to ask.
Yeah,
wanna know.
we've said it many times here in this podcast. Like you have to go to the judges that you know that actually rate your physique. And yeah, people may say like, "Oh, you need to be on all the time," yada yada yada. But you know, we're all human beings. You know, one judge will have a bias to a certain type of physique, and if they don't like your physique, then just don't waste your money, mate. Like personally, I avoid certain judges because personally, I know that whatever I've been judged by them, they give me a shit placing, so I avoid them.
But it's the case though, isn't it? It's like, you know, where, and I don't want to sound biased here, but you stood in a row with all these boys. You know where the judges' eyes go, and you know if you've been looked at.
100%.
Right. And there's nothing worse than stood there and knowing you haven't been looked at. And it's just like, nice one, wicked. It's like, it was in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And in my lineup, there was every single one of them was first call out, top 5, and they were all like 6 foot plus.
Yeah,
I'm a little boy, 5'10", you know what I mean? So they're like the big, gigantic guys. It's just before the Olympia. They knew what they wanted.
Yeah.
You know, like it's.
Hang on. When you say 6 foot plus, you mean Alexandra and Yemi are like 6'5", 6'6". That's
Yeah.
like,
But
yeah, it's more than just 6 foot plus. People think 6'1", 6'2". No, these are
giants.
yeah. You're like
Literally.
Yeah.
And filled out as well.
Yeah, Alessandro, Yemi, flipping stacked. Being next to
boys,
them always makes you feel like a leprechaun, bro.
But I don't know. I feel like not taking part. You know, like before I turned pro, and you see all these pro qualifiers. Oh, he turned pro. Oh, should have done that show. And I had that sense of like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I still feel like I'm in that phase in the pro leagues because I don't really know who hates me yet. I know Tyler doesn't fancy my look yet, but I'm like, I'm all for like trying to persuade them as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you have to do it. You have to run up a few shows to
I
actually
mean,
no. Yeah. You have to
I'm
run up a
like,
few shows. And that's exactly what I did in the first couple of years that I turned pro. Was the same year that I turned pro, I did like 3 or 4 pro shows. The second year I did 3, 4 pro shows again, just to get some data. I'm a data guy, bro. Like I don't have like a massive ego saying, oh, I want to win every single competition. I know that if I stay in it for a long period of time, I'm gonna eventually do well. You know, that's kind of my ball, like the
Yes.
way I think about it. So for me, it was like, okay, right now I'm gonna suck. I'm gonna suck on purpose, but I'm gonna get data. And then when I am actually in a position, that's why I took last year off. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Took last year off. I know I have the data from the previous years. I know what judges like me. I know what to do, what not to do on stage. All right, cool. This year, I'm coming full smoke. You know what I mean? Like I'm coming full smoke because I've got the data. But you know, that's the way I see it. So you have to run up the shows, man, and just see where you are, see how things are. Do you know what I mean?
I'm so different. I'm just like, I'm trying to go back to pre-Italy first show and be like, you know what? No expectations. No one fucking knows who I am. I got nothing to fucking lose. And you know what? Like, I enjoyed that. It was just like, ideally, I don't want to be 16th. Like, don't get me wrong. That's a fucking kick and it fucking hurts. But when you're, I think I said it to you, Alex, before the show, and it was like anything off like 20, because on the books, right, on the stats, I'm expected to be last. So anything above any like rookie was a win. And I feel like I'm still in that rookie phase now this
Yeah,
season.
you
So
still are, yeah.
yeah, just fucking
I think it's that willingness though to know your shit and to be shit. And
and
exactly as you say,
be prepared to be kind of get a shit result.
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
also
You have
could
to.
stand up to
potentially get a
it.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, like I nearly missed Italy. If I didn't fucking do it, I'd still be here like I'm fucking shitting it for my first pro show. You
100%,
have to
yeah.
put yourself in the firing line and be willing to get, you know, a little smack. But it's like your journey, like is what the fuck you do next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's the resilient aspect of like bodybuilding. Of, like if you actually are a decent bodybuilder, that resilience is like integrated and built into you anyway. So it's like my journey was just fabricating that to be ready for bodybuilding, like prep, resilient, determined, driven, like unrelenting. It's like if you can get clean, you can do pretty much anything. That's the
Yeah.
way I see my life now. It's like there's nothing that I don't foresee as being impossible to do and accomplish within reason, obviously, right?
100%, yeah.
Right. My own limitations. But there's nothing that I wouldn't be willing to try. And it's that trial and error of willingness is the key. And I think a lot of like younger athletes, especially people that are trying to get into bodybuilding, and this is stuff they don't know and understand yet, is like they have one little fuck up, or they don't look the way they wanted to, or they don't place the way they wanted to place, or they had a hard day one day and they cheat on their diet or whatever it is. It's like the small minor inconveniences is what actually builds you to be a better long-term athlete, right? And how you overcome that. And I feel a lot of people don't have that resilience and they need to build that, and how you overcome it is really important.
Yeah, I think like you know mine and your show, obviously they went this way, like we did well first. But if we did like if you did Italy first, didn't do well, and sacked it in, you wouldn't know what it felt like to come, you know,
Last.
first call out. Yeah, but if you didn't go again,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And obviously it was just about the environment, the judges and whatever else happened.
Yeah.
But you have to put yourself out there and be open to anything because today's result isn't tomorrow's.
No.
Yeah.
So
But
I'm
you
doing
also
something very similar this year as what
okay,
Isaac's
cool.
doing
Yeah.
last year. So like for me now, I'm just trying to get more tissue on the frame and just get thick.
Mate,
Yeah.
you've got no space for tissue. You've got no weight,
Bruv,
no
I will
space.
find some space.
Must I'm gonna
Isaac,
find
Isaac,
it.
quickly. Hang
That's
on, Isaac. Let's get
get a picture.
Alex's page up. Yeah, get
This
his
guy.
page up.
I was ready. I already have him all here. Yeah, man. So is that to go for this year? Taking the whole year off?
What's the plan, Alex?
It's my signal.
My density, that's my chest is a bit of a weird one, like top shelf. It always seems to be a bit incave or concave here. So just trying to pull that through.
No competitions.
This year, not as of planned yet.
Okay.
But you know me, I always say I'm not competing and I turn up.
Okay. Yeah, 100%.
Prep now. All right, let's have a look.
No, you don't say I'm on prep now. You just see him at a fucking show.
Yeah.
Is this a recent one?
Yeah, that was a
4 days ago.
couple of days ago.
Wait, this is you now?
Yeah.
I can walk on stage now.
This guy, bro. How are you still so lean, man? I just do not know how you do it, bro. Honestly.
So I'm like 104 kilos now. So like, I've still got 11 kilos to come off me off that.
Yeah. So where do you navigate from there?
Right, so I stay at 104 kilos. I say this every single time. I'm going to stay at this weight, and then I ended up at like more weight, and I'm like, fuck.
Obviously, to add more tissue, we need more food.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't expect you. I expected you to be like, I'm coming to fucking compete again quite soon.
For me personally, mate, like I need for my body just needs a bit of time to like bed in with what it's currently doing.
Are you managing your off season yourself?
Yeah.
And then what's the plan of prep? You're gonna hire someone?
Yeah, 100%. This year, like, or next year, whenever I do it, it will definitely need somebody to kind of like facilitate.
Start to finish?
Huh?
Start to finish or just
100% without question. I mean, as I say, like one of the things that I did really well, I worked with Nate Styles for my pro card.
Mm-hmm.
And Nate was wicked because like that's the whole point of a coach, right? They learn what works for you, what doesn't. And I think if I'm or as and when I'm ready to jump back in, it's like you need that person to know you inside out. And that's why working for somebody or working with somebody for a long term is really beneficial. And just jumping in with somebody for a prep just doesn't really work because it's kind of like trial and error. Maybe this will work, maybe it won't.
I totally agree.
I think that's a lesson for most people, man. Like if you're gonna jump in with a coach, like do it for the
During the
long
off
term,
season.
not 100%.
Yeah.
saying that? Why not with a coach now?
For me,
Yeah.
I'm not ready. Right now, man, like I'm happy just living my life and doing normal stuff. So like me and Jen are due to get married. So it's like my priorities for me right now is just taking a bit of time off whilst like adding some tissue, still training hard, still enjoying the process, like getting the love for it, you know, keeping that fire burning. And then when I'm ready to kind of jump balls deep in, I'll be with a coach for the, the extended period of actually locking into place.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense.
I always see the picture. I'm like, how the fuck is a bag of voucher? I want to go in the card.
Did you not get anything else?
No, fuck all, mate.
You know how much of a pain in the ass it was to get that stuff back?
It was worth it. It was worth it.
I had to leave half the hall back there, in the hotel room. Not even lying.
My God.
I couldn't fit it in anything.
Did you not travel with a suitcase?
Yeah, but I had Jen with you. I traveled with a girl before.
Oh, yeah. You got to leave all her clothes, all her shoes, leave that shit. I'm coming back with my bag.
Literally. Yeah.
Nah, that's sick.
Yeah, this is where I'm at now, man. It's like, I'm still relatively lean. Like, I don't really gain weight, but I just get thick.
Yeah.
I don't really hold fat.
It's good,
Which
man.
I'm blessed for, man.
You're living the dream, man. I fucking wish that was the case.
Yeah.
If I look that on stage, I'll take it.
Mate, I wish I could be that on stage. Like I would, I'd just rock up.
You should just rock up, mate. See what happens.
Just wouldn't make cap. Just hang upside down for a bit longer, see what happens.
Yeah, man. No, it's been a solid podcast, man. We've been able to speak about a lot and actually get to know you. So thanks for sharing everything, mate.
Appreciate it.
Even as hard as it may have been. But yeah, really, really cool. So the next plan for you, obviously, is you're taking this year, well, potentially taking this year off. But you will be stepping back on the pro show, if not this year, then next year, right?
This year, somebody's got to hire a coach, and they'll be like, "Mate, there's no room to be growing no more."
I know that's
We're
my
just making
issue.
it hard to get down.
Is my signal like going in and out?
You like jump a little bit.
I don't know what's going on. All right. Well,
You
I don't
think,
even know
bro?
what I was saying anymore. What was I asking you? I think I was asking you, you're competing, if not this year, next year, right? Back on the pro
Yeah,
stage.
yeah,
You missed
yeah,
all of that.
Ah,
yeah. So it'd be either at the back end of the year or early next year if I'm going to do it again, or when I'm going to do it again.
all right, nice man.
But I think it's important, as I say, like it's important just to kind of live life at sometimes and just enjoy
100%.
doing what you're doing for it.
100%. No, that's a big factor of it. You can't be, I think a lot of people think when you become a bodybuilder, you have to just be that forever until you stop bodybuilding. Whereas, yeah, there's an aspect of it like you do have to be militant, you still have to be on point, but you still also cannot neglect life. You have to
100%.
live your life as well. Like that's a very, very important part of it. And I feel like if you don't do that, you will resent bodybuilding eventually, and then you also won't become a good bodybuilder because mental health, mental clarity is just as important. Like last year,
And relationship.
and relationship. But with me last year, this time last year, I could not think of anything worse but to start prep. Like I was loathing prep. And I was like, I do not want to do it. I don't feel it. Even Rob was like, oh, you want to prep? I was like, mate, that's the last thing I want to do. I just wasn't in a good mental space. This year, however, I feel a lot better because I was able to just be normal last year, man. Just eat, go out, have a good time, spend time with the missus. And believe it or not, like me and the missus, we've been together for 4 years. And last year was the first year that I haven't prepped whilst we've been together. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's funny, at least, but it's like I got to know her as an Isaac that I am, not like, when you're in prep, you kind of not really yourself, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
And
That's a
so
shell of yourself.
yeah, so now I feel in a much better position mentally. And I guess that's one thing I wanted to share with people is just like, just don't forget to live life whilst you're also a bodybuilder.
When you
I
look
think
at some of the best bodybuilders in the world, like Ryan Terry and like C-Bum, they have downtime.
life.
Yeah, they just switch off. I
Yeah.
think Chris, I don't think he even like he does train, but it's not with that same intent. It's just obviously you have to look like C-Bum to do that shit, but it's still a testament. Like he's won, was it 6 on the bounce? And he's had a life and a family and been able to give back and not just be
Mm,
so like robotic because everyone thinks the bodybuilder has to be robotic all
mm,
year, but there's more to bodybuilding. Even as a pro, like really and truly, yes, we all coach, yes, we kind of get paid from coaching, but we don't just lose clients because we're not competing or not,
mm.
because we're always going to be training, always going to be eating healthily for the majority and all that sort of stuff. So it kind of just becomes a lifestyle, but you live your life alongside it.
I think just being a little bit more relaxed, man, like just not putting so much pressure on yourself. I mean, there's so many people that put pressure on themselves to be something and to turn pro. And then exactly as you said earlier, James, in terms of like once you achieved it, it's like, now what? It's like if you just enjoy the process, don't put the pressure on yourself and just follow through with the steps. Like you'll accomplish it in such an easy fashion that it will almost feel effortless.
It's hard to like see that until you've done it
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, I've beat him before. He's turned pro. 'Cause that's what I was doing. I've beat him. He's turned pro. I was like, what? And I was like, fuck. And I was like, when is my turn coming? And I wasn't even like, you know, Isaac who's winning all these shows or whatever. But there's so many people I've beat who turned pro before me. And it's just remembering, which is why the podcast is here to share our
Yeah.
experiences. But before we let you go, what would one piece of advice, and you gave us one earlier, but for kind of like bodybuilders who want to be better bodybuilders, men's physique athletes want to be better, what would you tell your younger self basically?
Yeah.
Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Enjoy it. Like just enjoy it for what it is. And I put so much pressure on myself in my early years to go for it. And I'm grateful that I did do that. But at the same time, it's like I lost out on a lot of life, and that's one of the reasons why I'm taking a step back this year is because I need to live life. And exactly as Isaac says, you fall out of love with it. And I don't want to fall out of love with bodybuilding. Like it's given me so much purpose and so much meaning to who I am and what I've become and who I'm becoming that I don't want to lose it, if that makes sense. So just be chill, enjoy the process, like be smart, don't do dumb shit, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
And just
You sure?
You know what I mean? Not that type of drug, the other type. But just be smart with it and just enjoy the process, because like if you truly want something, back yourself. Like just back yourself, but don't be arrogant with it.
Mind
That's
you.
it.
666.
Love that.
Love that,
Thanks for
man.
coming on, brother.
You're welcome, boys. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure, man. But yeah, so we'll if you guys don't already know where to find Alex, Alex, just say where your Instagram, where can the guys connect with you?
The real Mr. Freshwater.
That's it. All right.
Wicked.
James, do what you
Hang
gotta
on
do.
1 second. Wait.
That's it. Do what you gotta do.
Peace.
Hang on, one more. Boom.
Peace.
All right, guys. Sick. Great
Thanks
to
so
have
much,
you on,
guys.
bro. Take care, yeah?
Thank you so much.
See you later, bro. Bye-bye.